This is the first orchid collection update of the year. I'm going to start off with some plants that are in bloom and then show off some plants that I'm looking forward to seeing in bloom if they haven't already, or if they've performed but not to the best of their abilities. So this is Uncasile Wildcat. This is the first orchid I ever got this go around, starting in 2019. And it's survived this whole time. I have it in a pot in bark, and you can see by the wrinkling in the pseudobulbs that it doesn't particularly like the fact that it's in chunky bark. It would do better if it were in a finer media, but I didn't have any at the time when I was repotting, and it was, I wouldn't say it was somewhat of an emergency, but I didn't like the pot that it was in, and I wanted it in something like this. What I would have done differently is added moss, perhaps, and maybe even manually broken down the chips, or maybe taken a hammer, I don't know. Made them smaller so that they would have less air spaces, more surface area to have water stick onto, so it would stay wet for longer. The latest pseudobulb has a beautiful anthocyanin-rich color, and the flowers are long-lasting. They should last about 7 weeks. So I got like 6 weeks left on these. They don't have a fragrance. I'm not sure if that's true of all wildcat, but this particular wildcat, well, I mean, it does have like a very faint floral fragrance, reminiscent of like vinyl and like sweet powder, but it's not very potent, so I wouldn't consider this to be a fragrant orchid. This next plant is my award winner from last year. This is my Catasetum siccatum in bud again, 24 flowers, or I guess buds, but it will have 24 flowers. And this time around, I can like move the plant around, get real close to it without worrying about triggering any of the flowers, and thus losing aesthetic qualities that would give me more points. And since I don't have to worry about that, I can do this. This is my Pescatoria violacea. I'm surprised that I've been doing well with this plant. It has been growing in my care for a few years now. It has bloomed several times too. And I could have had more blooms last year, but I repotted this plant while it was producing flowers, which it does when it produces roots, and I broke off all 5 spikes. So I'm kind of bummed about that, kind of why I never updated you guys post repot. I don't even know if I did a repot video on this. Either way, I was really upset with what I had done, so I didn't really talk about it. But here it is again, a beautiful flower, no fragrance, though it's described as having a fragrance. I've just not had the luxury of smelling it. The flowers are long-lived, they last about a month, and they're really cool shaped. I don't know, it reminds me of a chicken, like a chicken's beak, but also like some hooded figure contemplating an orb, or what have you. This is my Oncidium cheirophrum. I've had this plant for several years, and I even uploaded the video of me repotting it from the pot it came with into this like a little glass jar that I got for $1 at a Michael's. It is very cute. The flowers are fragrant. They last about a month, and to me they smell like, well, they're not producing fragrance yet, they just opened up. To me the fragrance has always smelled like a sweet, musky, spicy vanilla. Some people say peppery, kind of. So I can understand the sensation of pepper, but I don't really detect pepper itself. Maybe I will this time, if that's part of the description, given how many flowers there are. A single flower doesn't really do much, but a cluster of them should definitely, maybe a radius of about 1 meter, decorate with its scent. So I'm really looking forward to seeing this bloom out this year. I think last year it gave me like something half this size. So it's really nice to see how much this plant has grown, and what it'll continue to do. Last plant I'm going to include in this update is my Phalaenopsis schilleriana. This thing is in spike, clearly. It should bloom sometime early February, maybe late January if I'm lucky, as these beautiful mottled leaves, and I can tell that it's low light because it has that purple color underneath. And I didn't know that. I didn't know that this meant that it prefers lower light. So when I had it blasted by the powerful lights that I have growing other plants that require highlight, like Cattleya, it was not happy. And it was evident by the leaves growing shorter and producing the same color but on top, and that would eventually give way to brown and then turning yellow and then falling off, which I first thought was because I wasn't watering enough, but which was true, but when I did fix that issue, it would still be the same. A new leaf would grow and then the older leaf would kind of just like fall off, and I think it's because the plant was like, we already have enough factories for energy, we don't need to be expending all that. I don't know. But since moving it down to the bottom shelf, which gets light from passing through another shelf, it has done a lot better. This hole is from me trying to cut off some dead roots or the old spikes, and I cut into the leaf by mistake. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this looks as it grows. Definitely needs to be repotted, and the same logic can be applied to other plants in the same group. So like Phalaenopsis silibensis and Phalaenopsis philippinense, I've made do the same thing that these have done. Similar results since putting down on the bottom shelf. They have been recovering, and I'm really happy to see that.